73% say they actually plan to spend that extra cash on travel and dining out.
The overarching animal spirits, if they give off masculine or if they give off feminine energy.
It takes trillions.
Sorry about that.
Student loan cancellation is canceled. Apparently your animal spirit could identify with more masculine or feminine capabilities. AOC removes the woke stuff for the midterms, but then puts it back on. Inflation is down, which is a good thing, but credit shouldn't be given to the Biden administration. All that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. My name is Jobob. Thanks so much for tuning in. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker, completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. On today, it is Veterans Day, November 11th, the year of our Lord 2022. Happy Friday to you. Have a great weekend. Thank a veteran if you're while you're at it. And wow, lots of stuff happening today. The Biden student loan cancellation got canceled by a judge in Texas. We'll talk about that quite a bit at the front end of it, but also stick around because I think it's very, very funny. AOC, I don't know if I want to get into this right. AOC effectively took down one of the most woke things on her Instagram for the midterms and then said, oh, they must have actually, I don't know what happened to it. It must have disappeared. And then put it back up. So we'll get to that. Climate change, animal spirits, among the things we're going to be talking about today. But the first and biggest story in just in time, literally 2 days after the midterms, the Biden student loan cancellation program has been canceled by a federal judge in Texas. Savannah Guthrie explained this pretty well, so I'm just going to play the clip from the Today Show explaining what's happening, and you can see her somber tone. Oh no, how could this possibly be? Right on cue, seriously, the day after midterms. Check this out, and we'll discuss what actually happened. If you haven't already, would appreciate it. I see a couple thousand of you watching this thing. Appreciate you clicking the little like button down here and the little share button. Would really appreciate you doing so. Let us know what you can think in the comments section. Did you see this coming? Did anybody see this coming? That the student loan forgiveness plan was going to get knocked down 2 days after the midterms? Huh. What a coincidence that is. Anyways, check it out. Watch this. We'll discuss on the other side.
Friday morning, a federal judge in Texas has blocked President Biden's student loan forgiveness program. The U.S. district judge ruling in favor of 2 borrowers who were partially or fully ineligible for the plan. He called the program an unconstitutional exercise of Congress's legislative power. The Biden plan would cancel $10,000 in student loan debt for those making less than $125,000 a year. The Justice Department is appealing that ruling.
Wow. The reason, now, here's the thing. The judge in Texas said that the executive order, because this wasn't a law, it wasn't passed by Congress, it didn't go through the proper channels for it to be signed into law. The judge said that this was unconstitutional. And the reason he said that is because it's blatantly unconstitutional, like by a lot. One, this would be the biggest spending a single person in the history of the universe would have ever done. $300 billion with the stroke of a pen. That's not how our system works. It's not how you do things here in America. And also just the utter unfairness of it. And on top of that, I think it was it James Madison? Somebody said in the Federalist Papers, and I'm getting my history wrong here, but there's a very good point made that debt forgiveness is the most aggressive form of tyranny. And that seems to be the case in the Biden administration. To go down what happened, so check it out. So this is the fallout from it. The Biden administration has officially stopped accepting applications for federal student loan forgiveness after a court struck it down on Thursday evenings. The courts have issued an order blocking the student loan debt relief program, according to a note on the forgiveness application page at studentaid.gov. As a result, at this time, we're not accepting applications. We are seeking to overturn those orders. BS, dude. Okay, I've been saying this for, I don't know, months now since it happened. Not only, aside from the fact of being super unfair and super unconstitutional, my big problem with this here, and I feel like this is going to snowball and actually come to fruition, what I've been concerned about, is you're going to tear people apart even more. There have been, let me read through this here. Some 26 million people have requested the relief to date. 16 of those requests have been approved. No money has gone out yet, at least that I know of, and I could be wrong here. Originally, the Education Department said the borrowers would receive forgiveness within 6 weeks after they applied. The full application launched October 17th, so nobody is within that 6 weeks, or nobody is past that 6 weeks. But the bottom line here is 26 million people think that they're getting $10,000 to $20,000. Now, I would imagine that the majority of those people aren't following the news like you or I am and don't know that this was blatantly unconstitutional and going to inevitably be struck down in the courts. They don't know that. All they know is that I'm going to get $10,000, and they're probably adjusting their life and their spending habits accordingly. Now, they're going to be told, well, this isn't possible. And what the Biden administration is going to do, saying, well, Republicans are blocking this from you. Republicans stole $10,000 from you, which, of course, that's not the case. That's just they promised something that they couldn't deliver. And the fact that they can't deliver it now, they're going to blame other people. The biggest problem here I see with all of this is how divisive it is. It is, I mean, of course, the unconstitutionality of it is bad. Of course, the unfairness of it is bad. Of course, the leap into tyranny is bad by debt forgiveness. But I think the biggest problem that's going to come from this is people are going to legitimately look at this as you stole $10,000 from me, when that's not at all the case. Again, 26 million people have requested the student loans. And the thing is, the Biden administration cynically knows that they couldn't do this. They were fully aware that this was not a possible thing for them to do, yet they did it anyway for political purposes. And I just think it's almost poetic that the judge in Texas struck it down 2 days after the midterms. Because I guarantee you there were people, I don't know how many people, but there were some people that went to the polls and voted specifically because of this region. Oh my gosh, Joe Biden is going to forgive $10,000 of my student debt. I'm going to vote for Democrats. And then all of a sudden it comes crashing down because they knew they couldn't do it in the first place. Now, this is not the first time the Biden administration has done something directly unconstitutional. Remember when the CDC was issuing eviction moratoriums, which I didn't know CDC had jurisdiction over housing, but we'll leave that as it is right now. But the Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that. And the Biden administration decided to continue the plan anyway. The bottom line here is when the president takes the oath of office, it says to defend and uphold the Constitution. If he or she, if there's a woman president, decides blatantly to do something that is in his mind against what the Constitution says, how much does that break the oath of office? And in what case does that demand, I don't know, charges being brought against him? Which another word for that would be impeachment. I don't know. If the president knowingly circumvents the Constitution after taking the oath of office to uphold the Constitution and defend the Constitution, seems to be a problem. I want to play this clip because I thought this was fascinating. In all of this, I want to get into the mind of some of these people that really, really want the student loan forgiveness plan. Now, I understand why people want the money. That is what it is. But the people that are going to or would have benefited from this fake plan that was never going to happen, their mindset in how the world works, I think is just off. I'll explain what I mean after this clip, but I thought this was fascinating, and I'm going to warn you. I'm just going to warn you right now. If you're watching this and you thought the student loan debt forgiveness plan was unconstitutional, but more importantly, unfair, this is going to make you very, very mad. So, trigger warning here, I guess. This is going to piss you off. If you haven't already, I would appreciate you clicking the little like button down here in this little corner, and also the little share button. Would really, really appreciate you doing so. It keeps us keep going, the ball rolling on this show, and really, really appreciate you doing that. It helps us out quite a bit, especially algorithmically, and especially if you're watching on Facebook. So anyways, watch this clip and prepare to grind your teeth to the nubs.
Money Minute. Recipients of President Biden's student debt forgiveness plan could see their monthly payments drop up to $300 a month in the coming weeks. But get this, 73% say they actually plan to spend that extra cash on travel and dining out.
And joining us now is CNBC Text Check co-anchor Deirdre Bosa. So Deirdre, why are people more inclined to spend the money they're saving on non-essentials instead of paying off their bills? I think we may know the answer.
Well, that could be according to one survey, but it could be easy as well for some people to enjoy traveling and eating out rather than worrying about the future. One financial coach tells CNBC.com that you should not use the loan forgiveness only for long-term goals. Your short-term self may get frustrated and give up on planning ahead altogether. So instead, they say make sure your regular bills are paid, check in on your goals, and try to achieve a balance that also lets you invest in your future self.
Whoa. Look, that makes me mad. Like, okay, so I and my family were able to pay off the student loans for me to go to college. And when other people get their loans forgiven for the same debt that they took out for the same advantage that they paid for by going to college, because it still is technically an advantage, you're telling me that those people are going to, well, I deserve to travel more and to dine out more. Okay, all right. So the people who are responsible with their money, you think these 73% of people who think, well, I'm going to save, I'm going to do what I want for me in the short term. You think that's an acceptable thing for those of us who sacrificed to save money? Look, I'm very future-oriented. I'm sure a lot of you are very future-oriented. I save my money. I drive a 16-year-old car. I don't have to. I can afford a nicer car, but I drive a 16-year-old car that I bought for $5,000. I would love to drive a nicer car, but and maybe I'm a little over the top of this, am paranoid that things are going to all come crashing down, and I want to have a sizable nest egg beneath me for when that does happen. There's no sign by any way. There's no, just so you know, that everything is fine. There's no big problem that I'm currently facing, but I don't know. I just am skeptical of the future at all times, and therefore save my money and am responsible. So does my wife, and we live very much not even within our means, very below our means. And what I think a lot of people, the disconnect between a lot of people on the left that like these socialistic ideas don't understand the concept of saving and preparing for the future. And what I mean by that is I think the mindset of your AOCs and your Bernie Sanders and your Elizabeth Warrens is, well, Jobob drives a 16-year-old car that he bought for $5,000 because he wants to. That's his decision. I, though, prefer the nicer things in life, and therefore I want to go out to dine more often with my friends. I would like to travel more. The other people that aren't doing that just don't want to do those sorts of things. That, I genuinely think, is the mindset of some of these people. They think us saving for the future and preparing ourselves financially for retirement or later on in life are doing those things because it's what we want to do. Look, I would love to spend my entire year on vacation and drive a Tesla. That I would really, really, really like to do that. And honestly, I can afford to do a lot of it, but I choose not to because I'm responsible and save for the future. That, I think, is the biggest disconnect. I think a lot of your super lefty economic people think, well, the people that are saving their money are doing it because they're driving that 30-year-old truck or live in the apartment that isn't the nicest apartment for them. They do it because they want to, but I, of course, like the nicer things, and therefore I deserve all of those things. That's what I think the disconnect is between a lot of us who save our money and a lot of those who spend recklessly. I would like to, let's see, get some of these comments here because I think it is funny, interesting. Well, Kimberly says the YOLO generation. Yeah, that's kind of what it seems like. Tangled says ant versus grasshopper mindset. I've never heard that. If you'd like to expand on that, I would like to, I don't know. I'd love to read more about that. Let's see. Anything else? Ricardo does point out something interesting. It says temporarily halted. Look, yes, it is temporary at the moment. The Texas judge who halted the student loan cancellation, it is temporary, but at the same time, it is not going to go through ultimately. So there's that. Let's see. Any other comments we want to get to? People are saying there's a bunch of trolls on here today in the comment section. I don't know if that's true, but that's fine. Oh, talking about just deciding to completely ignore the Constitution. Ben brought up a great point. Obama circumvented the Constitution by creating DACA, and nothing happened to him. Yeah, seriously, that's true. Good point, Ben. There's a lot of those types of things. George says Biden and his cronies have no respect for the law. And then George says you're a smart young man with common sense. I appreciate that, George. Thank you. Sometimes I appreciate the compliments. I don't get a lot of them, especially on. You should. Well, I was considering posting some of my Instagram messages because I think they're kind of funny, and I generally respond with your mom comments. Like if somebody says, "Hey, your content sucks," I say like, "Your mom doesn't think so," something dumb like that. But maybe I'll post those and share those in a little bit. Okay, where do we want to go from here? There's so many things we got to get to, and oh my gosh, I spent a lot of time talking about that. Let me go to this too. Since we were talking about AOC, I thought this was fascinating. AOC. Well, just so you know, politicians generally ditch the far arguments in election season, even if they're not necessarily running for, not necessarily running a competitive race. What I mean by that is, generally speaking, during a general election, politicians run towards the middle. Like, oh, I'm a moderate. I don't believe in any of this crazy stuff. And it happens on both sides. It happens on the right. It happens on the left. J.D. Vance is probably a great example of that. During the primary, he got pretty dang Trumpy. And then during the general election, his very, very sensible, reasonable, intelligent side came out, and, you know, he ended up being successful with that. But bottom line here is it happens on all the political sides, and it happens specifically, I guess, with AOC. AOC has had her pronouns in her bio for a very, very long time. If you follow AOC on Instagram, as I do, and I also don't necessarily just troll her, which I feel like a lot of people do, but I don't know. I mostly am just interested in what she's pushing so that I can have a coherent and cogent argument to respond in response to that. But anyways, AOC has had her pronouns in her bio, she, her, by the way, in case you were unaware, her pronouns are she, her. But then they magically disappeared. I don't know how that happened. Is it because the whole pronoun thing is a pretty far lefty idea? And because maybe that AOC, even though her race wasn't competitive, wants to not have other people point to her as a beating horse with competitive seats? Is that part of the reason maybe? She responded to that. Somebody asked her a question. Hey, what happened to your pronouns? And her response was kind of funny. I would like you to watch this. Check it out. If you haven't already, appreciate you clicking the little like button and the little share button. Really, really does help us out. AOC on her pronouns.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. They used to be on there. Let me go in and check and see if I can add them. Sorry about that. They used to be there. I guess they fell off, but I'll put them on right now.
AOC put her pronouns back on the. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. They must have fallen off. How does that even happen? And they must have fallen off. Look, it's not a glitch. If anything, Instagram or any of your social media platforms is probably going to put those pronouns on accident as opposed to take them off on accident, especially someone like AOC. So clearly, she took those pronouns off of her Instagram account so that people couldn't point to it during the midterms in other more competitive races. And wow, as a matter of fact, she put them back on after the midterms. Isn't that funny how all of that stuff works? Woke when it benefits you, reasonable when it doesn't. Fun, AOC. Also, by the way, I do appreciate you putting the pronouns on your Instagram profile. I had no idea you were she, her. I couldn't have guessed. John, I think John Henry is probably one of those trolls that you guys are talking about. And maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. But he says, dude wants to something AOC. No, I do not. But I'm not going to get involved with it. Gabriel says, fallen off or taken off? Yes, that. It was definitely taken off. Arthur says, Elon did it. That is the wrong platform, but that's okay. Wow, there's a lot of not great comments on here. Somebody from YouTube says, my pronouns fall off all the time. I'm not sure if that's a joke. Marcel says she/her needs to go back to bartending. That's funny. Let's see. All right, that'll do that for the comments here. But so do we want to go down the woke stuff, or do we want to talk about serious things like inflation? Nah, we want to stick to the woke stuff. I found this video on Libs of TikTok, and I thought it was just hilarious. The whole idea, so last Friday, we generally do this stuff on Fridays, kind of just have some fun, headed on into the weekend, maybe turn off the politics for a little while, have a little bit of fun on a Friday morning, or whenever it is that you're watching this. What is your spirit animal? That's what I'd like to know. In the comment section, I would love to hear your spirit animal. And did you know that your spirit animal could help you identify as more masculine or more feminine, depending on what that spirit animal is, and if you identify currently with that spirit animal or a different spirit animal? If you're confused by my explanation of it, you're not alone. I am also very, very confused. And to help clear things up, I believe this woman from TikTok, who is a Theron, I'm not sure what that term is, but she identifies as multiple animals and therefore multiple feminine or masculine things, and is going to explain that to you now. Watch this. Try not to laugh. How about let's do this? Let's have a laugh. It'll be the honor system. Let us know in the comment section if you make through this entire thing without cracking a smile. Watch this.
A question that I don't feel like has been addressed as well as it could is, does being a Therian affect your gender? I personally think it can. I think it absolutely can. If not gender, then your expression of what would be considered masculinity or femininity. For me personally, my stereotypes have specific genders in terms of what I think they were in past lives. And the overarching animal spirits, sort of, if they give off masculine or if they give off feminine energy. For me personally, my wolf stereotype is masculine, my cat stereotype is feminine, and my northern pike stereotype is masculine. So, I personally feel more masculine when I am connecting with wolf and more feminine when I am connecting with cat. And when I say wolf and cat, I'm referring to the animal spirits themselves. I'm not referring to like my stereotype directly, because your stereotype is a part of you, but I am referring to the overarching animal spirits of that specific species or stereotype.
Okay, so that made sense to all of you, right? Like that's what you identify. Your stereotype is a subset of a previous life's animal spirit, which then, dictates whether or not you feel more masculine or... Some of the comments in here were very, very funny. YouTube says, a sloth cow. Dean Allen says he is a wolf or she is a wolf. I'm not sure who. Sorry about that. Barbara says a wolf. Gabriel says he's a chipmunk with rabies. Ryan says he's a sloth who drinks beer. And Karen says, what? Marcella says, what the hell is going on with these people? Yeah, I don't know. John says, I'm cracking up. Okay, so this guy John is a detractor. John doesn't like us at all. He says, the spirit animal of most Republicans is a roadkill skunk. All right. Good luck with your mental disorder, John. Bobby says, sounds like a good shroom trip. And Marcel says, my feminine brain just broke. Yeah, wow. So that was a nice laugh. Time to get some more serious fare. Joe Biden. Well, the comments keep coming in and they're super funny. All right. Check this out. So inflation, the numbers are for inflation. I promise I'm going to be able to get through this. The numbers for inflation came out yesterday, and good news. And I do actually think this is good news. Inflation is down year over year. It was at like 8.2%. It came down to like 7.7% or something like that. But it is good news. Good news. Inflation is down. Now, the problem, I think, here, and I don't want to sound like I'm just complaining about everything, but inflation being down is a good thing. It has nothing to do with the president of the United States. Now, I would like to say that if Donald Trump was in office, or if let's just say a Republican or a conservative or a freedom-loving candidate was in office at the presidency, and inflation was going down, I would say that the president had nothing to do with it then, too. Just to be fair and across the board here, the president has dang near nothing to do with inflation going down. However, the president does have a lot to do if inflation goes up. In that, meaning that the president can spend more money, or the president and the administration and the Congress, if they decide to pass bills that spend more money, can cause inflation to go up. Inflation going down has nothing to do with the president of the United States. The only thing that the president of the United States can do is veto bills that spend more money. And Joe Biden has not done any of those things. So when you talk about, wow, inflation is down, he didn't get to have credit for that. I want you to watch this video that was put out by the Biden White House talking about inflation. Well, inflation is down. I glanced at the comments. Karen said, "When you're printing money, it helps." Yeah, it does. When you're printing money, it does not help inflation go down. But Joe Biden, I don't know. Listen to this. Listen to this talk. Joe Biden is now taking credit for inflation going down, which he had nothing to do with, but also a lot to do with it going way up. Check it out.
Folks, my economic plan is showing results. The people are starting to feel it. We're making progress on bringing down inflation without losing jobs. Americans are already paying around $1.20 less per gallon of gas than they were this summer. Folks are seeing much needed break in inflation at the grocery store as we head into holidays. People are shopping for health insurance and continuing to save $800 a year because of the actions we took. And it's going to take time to get inflation back to normal levels, but we're going to keep at it. We're on the right track. We're not losing jobs in the meantime. I'm going to keep fighting to build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out.
Okay. So what that was, obviously, is Joe Biden pretending that he has anything to do with inflation going down. And again, that's not true. So just so we're clear, so we know, the Federal Reserve ticking up interest rates, causing the economy to slow the F down. That's what's going to cause inflation to go down. And as long as we're being fair, they need to do it. The economy has to, I don't want to say shrink, but the economy has to slow down in order for inflation to go down. And that's pretty much entirely the job of the Federal Reserve, who can either raise interest rates or lower interest rates, depending on where they want inflation to be. They're raising interest rates very, very high. Just another one ticked up last week, and it's going to keep happening. Their interest rates are going to continue to go up, which is going to have an effect on the real estate market. Anything you have to have with a loan, adjustable credit cards, which, yikes, good luck if you have a lot of credit card debt. But the president has nothing to do with interest rates going up. That's just not in his purview at all. But like I said, the only thing the president can do is make inflation go up by spending a bunch of money on things we don't need with money that we don't have. So just for the record, inflation is going down in spite of President Biden, not because of President Biden. That's the bottom line here. There's another climate change thing that, we don't need to talk about that. Joe Biden was in Egypt. I think is he in Egypt still? I'm not sure if he is. He's at some sort of like climate change thing. We won't talk about that. It's boring. It's basically they're going to try and do more climate change stuff. There's a clip of John Kerry saying that we need to spend trillions of dollars, which is not possible. 70 says he's in Egypt now. Yeah. It's whatever. We don't need to digress on the climate change thing. So you know what? That'll do it for us. Happy Veterans Day. Make sure this weekend you go thank a veteran for their service. Bravery on all sides in that case. Have a great weekend. Spend it with your family. Laugh a little. Don't take in politics nearly as much as I do because I'm a weirdo. Have a good weekend. Have some fun. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media platforms. Just type in Jobob pretty much everywhere you'll be able to find me. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Getter, True Social, Ebble, any of the other ones that I missed. The Chiron for Facebook is still wrong. We are doing... we didn't do any Jobob Unlimited episodes, I think, this week. So maybe we'll... That's because I think we did a lot of the election coverage stuff. And I think we were on for like 3 hours that night, which... my brain still hurts a little bit from that. But go follow me on Facebook. Just type in Jobob. There's no show at the end. It's just the Jobob. And you can find all of those, what's it called? Jobob Unlimited podcasts with a bunch of different fun guests that we are continually pumping out. That'll do it for us today. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. See you on Monday. Same time, same place. Monday, am I going anywhere? Am I doing anything? No, but Wednesday evening, I will be at Morehead State in Kentucky on the eastern side of Kentucky. And then Thursday, I will be at Western Kentucky University on the western side of Kentucky. If you are in or around either of those two areas, we'd love to see you there. There are tickets available at somewhere. I haven't put them anywhere. It's an event organized by the schools, the TPUSA chapters of the schools. But we're doing a stand-up comedy night and, well, a bunch of different other fun things. So if you live in any of those areas, we'd love to see you in Kentucky. We'll also be hitting the road this spring, early summer too. So we'll keep you all posted on that. But in case you're in the greater Kentucky area, we'd love to see you next week. If you haven't already, I know as we're wrapping up, click the little like button and the little share button. If you're still watching this and you haven't done that already, we'd appreciate you doing so. Or you can click the angry button. Maybe you're very angry and upset that AOC removed her pronouns for the midterms and then put them back on. But yeah, really helps us out with that. And maybe, you know what, maybe try this. Tag a friend. Would love if you tagged a friend in the comment section. Yeah. All right. We'll see you Monday. Same time, same place. God bless America.